Former President Barack Obama in Phoenix, Arizona last night, campaigning with Senator Kelly and gubernatorial candidate Katie Hobbs. His 55-minute speech was filled with jabs at Republicans like
I mean, it's
Kari
55.
Lake.
You know, it's 55 minutes.
But
because somebody in this campaign has to speak.
Somebody
and Katie
has
Hobbs
to speak
isn't.
out. He spoke about Republicans like Kari Lake and others who pushed Donald Trump's election lies. Take a look.
Here in Arizona, there's no question that Katie Hobbs' opponent, she's good in front of the camera because she's been doing it for a long time, right? So, some people don't know this, but apparently Kari Lake actually interviewed me back in 2016 when I was president. She was a local news anchor. She was doing her job. At the time, I don't remember thinking that she was the kind of person who would push debunked COVID remedies or promise to issue a declaration of invasion at our border, or claim without any evidence that the 2020 election was stolen. I guess that stuff came later because she found it convenient, because she thought, well, here's an opportunity to get attention. Listen, if we hadn't just elected somebody whose main qualification was being on TV, you could see maybe giving it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? Well, now we know. It doesn't just work out just because somebody's been on TV. The other day, your own current Attorney General, who's a Republican, called the election fraud claims made by Katie Hobbs' opponent horse crap. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say it exactly that way. He said her whole act about how the election was stolen is a giant grift. Why would you vote for somebody who you know is not telling the truth about something? I mean, on something that important. I don't care how nicely they say it. I don't care how poised they are or how well lit they are. I mean, you have people from her own party saying that's just not true. And yet, it seems as if it doesn't matter anymore. What happens when truth doesn't matter anymore?
I think we need that lighting on us, Willie.
I would
It's
love
very
that.
gauzy.
Can we have that? I'll take it.
It's like Streisand.
Oh, yeah.
In some way we were. Just put Vaseline on the lens.
Little cheesecloth.
It would help. It would help us all out a lot.
It gives you a glow that
I want
you
that
and I need.
I'm jealous.
Yes.
so badly.
Eddie, first of all, that's a man enjoying himself
Yeah.
on the campaign trail, the former president
Good
of the
at
United
it.
States.
Time.
It's extraordinary that he has to say the things he's saying, that President Biden has to say the things he had to say last night, which is that there are people out there lying to you, and that this really is about democracy. And you got to put people in office who are not going to disrespect the results of an election. We're not going to work to stage a coup against the United States government. But that will fall on deaf ears of a lot of people in the state of Arizona. But the hope is that President Obama can speak to enough of those people still sitting on the fence to say, this is too important to stay home.
Absolutely. Clear, passionate, right, and coherent, right? It's a coherent argument in so many ways. But what I was thinking was that, a lot of folk who are supporting Blake Masters, a lot of folk who are supporting Kari Lake, the motivation is Barack Obama. That, you're going to see the deployment of Barack Obama and even Donald Trump, to try to bring the case home in these last days.
Right.
But these two people are actually at the heart, in interesting sorts of ways, of the polarization in the country. So that was really great to see. But we know that his election in 2008, his re-election, in some ways, was one of the motivating factors for some of the chaos we're experiencing.
For some of the chaos, but Eddie, here's what I think when I'm up there. When I see him up there, I'm thinking there are a lot of people that voted for this guy.
Absolutely.
Including
For
Kari
a
Lake.
good reason, including Kari Lake. And
He could have thanked her.
then they voted for Donald Trump. Like, it's a, so I know race explains a lot of stuff on the right, doesn't explain a lot of stuff in the middle. Like, Barack Obama was the first president to get elected with a majority vote 2 times since gosh, Eisenhower.
Right.
Right? So that's what I'm trying to grapple with. Okay, that guy, you see him up there, he's fantastic. And I was thinking of the Obama-Trump voters who were looking at him, and I was wondering, do they see past all the craziness and all the lies that were told about him and look at that guy and go, yeah, that's the guy I voted for in 2008 in Clinton County, Iowa?
Right. You know, I think that's a really important point. But for some reason, even as passionate and convincing as President Obama was last night, it felt as if that was ages ago.
Oh, it was ages ago.
The time has
lifetime
passed. The kind of reasoned discussion, the appeal that he represents and still represents for a lot of folk. It seems like the moment is such that I don't know how it works, but I understand that middle that you're talking about.
So, Adrian, this is what I think some of us don't understand enough, that I forget all the time, despite having evidence of it my entire adult life. The same people that voted for Ronald Reagan twice voted for Bill Clinton twice. The same people that voted for Bill Clinton twice voted for George W. Bush twice. The same independents that voted for George W. Bush twice voted for Barack Obama twice, voted for Donald Trump once.
Yep.
This is your life, as far as your life is to understand these voters and to motivate. What is it that makes somebody, and I'm not being facetious here, because there are people out there, and there are people that don't watch shows every day about politics and policy. What is it about those voters that will vote for Barack Obama twice and then go, things are going in a bad direction, I'm going with this Trump guy?
Yeah, and don't forget the Bernie Sanders voters in the primary in 2016 who then voted for Donald Trump.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with voters who are voting for the outsider, who they consider to be somebody who's running against Washington, who's going to Washington to fix things. And I'm not going to give Donald Trump a lot of compliments for anything, but one thing that he has done somewhat well is he has still positioned himself as an outsider to Washington, even though he is not. So I think that's kind of the where some of those decisions come from.
Yeah.
But it's when we look at somebody like Barack Obama, I mean, he's going out there to make the closing argument and to also motivate Democrats. I don't think that he's necessarily thinking he's going to change any minds at this point, but he wants to make sure that every single Democrat and every single independent who intends to vote for a Democrat understands what's at stake.
Yeah.
David Ignatius.